tell people back in Philadelphia about what you experienced tonight?
They missed out.
They missed out?
Yeah, it was, I mean, we literally were standing right here when the smoke came up and just ran that way and got right up in front. It was awesome.
Well, thank you very much. Go get warm. I know I've been watching you guys stand in the rain. They didn't have an umbrella. But, you know, Brian, it was that moment of silence where you really could hear a pin drop here in St. Peter's Square. And the other thing that struck me is as Pope Francis I led the crowd through the Our Father and the Hail Mary and the Glory Be, I mean, to hear it, there must be over 100,000 people here. To hear them all pray in unison was really a dramatic moment. Brian?
And that was indeed my question for you. We were forced to listen to the interpreter. We could hear background noise wherever she was speaking, and so we were robbed of hearing exactly how silent the square became, and we were a bit robbed of hearing the prayer in unison, which really, in a way, turned that entire square into one big church. And Ann, in addition to thinking of our late mutual friend taught by the Jesuits, Tim Russert, and what he would be saying today, if a non-Catholic asked you, I'm looking for ways to explain the Jesuit subset of Catholics. If someone asked you, what's the deal with the Jesuits, how would you answer them in plain English? Why is this of note?
I would probably tell you, and with my apologies to the good fathers of the Holy Cross who taught me, I would tell you that the Jesuits, I think, are the intellects of the Catholic Church, the deep thinkers, the questioners. And I think that's what makes this choice so interesting. And I hope I haven't offended anyone by that sort of shorthand analysis. Brian?
Just send all your correspondence to Ann Thompson via Notre Dame University, and I'm sure she'll get back to you. Ann, thank you for speaking English, having answered a direct question. Cardinal Egan, the stakes are higher on you, but same question. Would you concur with our friend Ann?
Well, certainly the Jesuits represent for the Catholic Church and have ever since the Reformation strength and commitment and clarity. I actually taught at the Gregorian University in Rome for 12 years, and I had a lot of education there. I have 3 degrees in the Gregorian, and I have the greatest respect for the Jesuit fathers. I like their style. This past year, I had the ordination for all 3 provinces here, the Boston province, New York province, and the Baltimore province. And I told them all about the Jesuits I knew, about Cardinal Corrich and others whom I admire tremendously. I like their strength. I like their clarity. I like the fact that they know what they say and they say it clearly. And furthermore, they are one by one willing to take a position outside the chorus, you might say. I wrote a doctoral dissertation for a Jesuit, a Spanish Jesuit, and he said, you know, nobody's going to agree with your conclusion. He said, but that's the best thing. And that's typical, you know. And no one did agree with the conclusion, but I did get to the degree. And I always thought of Father Gordon as a typical Jesuit. You take your position. If you can defend it, go right ahead. And I think that you take that, Brian, and then you put it with it this very calm, solid, secure, holy man. And I know I've said 3 times that you probably think I have to say this, but I don't. This is a wonderful choice, and I congratulate Cardinal Dolan and everyone else. You could not have made a better choice as far as this retired old 80-year-old Cardinal Archbishop goes.
Well, thank you for saying that, and I'm sure that'll go a long way. I want, before we do a final round with our friends in Rome, 2 guests have been very patient listening to us and watching our coverage. I want to get a quick reaction from them, starting with Jim Nicholson, who is a former ambassador to the Holy See at the Vatican from the years 01 to 05. I should call you ambassador. I could call you Mr. Chairman for the various jobs you've had. How have you reacted to the news, the new naming of the first Pope Francis?
I was surprised. There was another cardinal from Argentina, Cardinal Sandri, who was a very good friend of mine, and I don't know the new Pope. I've met him, but Cardinal Egan certainly knows him, it sounds like. And what is intriguing to me is the process. And those cardinals, in whom I have a lot of confidence, know what our church needs today. And they picked this guy who's 76 years old, older than the man I thought they'd pick. So they obviously see in him the qualities and the strength and the energy that it's going to take to lead this church and to fulfill this needed new evangelization, the new message of love and peace that Jesus taught. And we need to spread much more throughout this world, not just for the benefit of Catholics, for people writ large, that God and in our faith, Jesus Christ, wants them to be happy and peaceful and fulfilled. And it looks to me like this guy, just watching him on the balcony for the short time that I did, really seems to have those requisites. He emanates an humbleness and a confidence and certainly respect. Look how he quieted down St. Peter's Square instantly and then asked those people to pray for him. That was a pretty profound moment, I thought.
Well, Ambassador, thank you for your instant reaction to all we've witnessed. And now, an attempt to run up the score even further for Notre Dame, we go out to South Bend. Kathleen Cummings is with us, Associate Professor of American Studies at the University of Notre Dame. Your reaction, beyond disappointment, of course, that we didn't witness the first American Pope.
Well, Brian, I was actually at a grade school, a Catholic grade school in South Bend, when the announcement that the white smoke appeared, and the joy of all these children was just palpable. And it reminded me that although we hear a lot about the disconnect between American Catholics and Rome, that really this is a very important decision for American Catholics. And I saw the joy I saw in those young people just gave me a lot of hope. Of course, these third graders all had questions, and most of them wanted to know if there was going to be an American Pope. And I think they may be disappointed, as some Americans are. But I think that nevertheless, I think that was unlikely all along, but I think the choice of a non-European Pope is really symbolic. And from a country like Argentina, which is like the United States, a nation of immigrants, and our new Pope is the son of immigrants, he's really a bridge between the old and new world. So I think at a time when people were looking for change, that choice is important. And I think, too, the choice of his name, Francis I, of all the names he could have chosen, the fact that he chose Francis, I think, is a sign of his humility and also a sign that he's open to reform in the church. I also, nothing against Holy Cross, but I was educated by Jesuits in undergrad, and I'm a big fan of those, so I'm with Anne on that one.
Okay, something told me you would be. Professor, thank you very much, especially for your patience staying with us this afternoon. Let's head over to Rome and our own Professor Lester Holt. Lester, you've taken it all in. It includes the boisterousness today, and then that must have been just astonishing moment of silence, followed by the public prayer in unison.
It was, Brian. I should point out, I am not Catholic, and I've learned a lot certainly being here. This is the second conclave that I've witnessed, but there is something electric and when the crowd erupts, when the smoke, be it the black smoke and then certainly the white smoke as we saw tonight, it is truly something to behold. And now, of course, we await the installation, which I talked to a Vatican spokesman today. The guidance, the suggestion was that if we had a pope today or tomorrow, it may likely be as soon as Tuesday. You've got to bring in heads of state. This is quite a formal affair. There's a lot of security that will be involved. So, of course, we'll learn in the next day or so, perhaps, when the actual installation, Brian, will take place.
All right, Lester Holt heading up our team in Rome. And at this point, as we prepare to go off the air for now and give way to our NBC stations prior to rejoining you a bit later on for NBC Nightly News, which will, of course, wrap up the entire day. Our thanks to our team on the ground, to the learned men and women who have joined us throughout our coverage to explain just what it is we have witnessed here today. No one had any advantage. We all learned at the same time, and we now know Pope Francis takes his place atop the modern Catholic Church. So for all of us, Brian Williams, NBC News, New York, thank you for being with us.